Hello and welcome to the last programme of Japanesey. Today we're going to be looking back at all we've learned over the series, from my cooking at home to the tea ceremony, our visit to Toyota and the wonders of teppanyaki. I'll also be cooking on a yakitori here at Oriental City. But first, Yuki is going to help me buy some vegetables. Hello, Yuki.
Hello, Thane. Nice to see you again.
Thank you. Now today we're looking at vegetables. I've tried lots and lots of them. I don't know how to buy them, so can you show me?
Okay, sure.
You see, already, Yuki, I don't know what on earth this is.
This is Japanese basil.
Basil, just
Japanese.
And it's just the same as ordinary basil, or is
No,
it?
but we use for tempura, for example.
Tempura. Hey, tempura's good. We're going to put that in there. And next to it, what's the next one? Those strange little bugs.
It's called myoga.
Myoga.
It's quite similar taste as garango.
So it's quite spicy.
Yes, kind of ginger taste.
I think we'll put that one back. Now then, I definitely need mushrooms. I've seen some mushrooms along here. You always have some extraordinary ones. Now then, what about those? What are these?
This is called shimeji mushroom.
Shimeji, yes.
It's also good for tempura.
Good for tempura. Okay, well that one can go in my basket too.
Yeah.
Now then, this is these look weird.
Yes, it
And
is.
what are these?
This is also mushroom called enoki.
Enoki.
Mushroom.
Yes. And how do you cook them?
I would use for miso soup.
Miso
or
soup, yes.
deep fried.
Yeah, we did some
stir-fried.
miso before and stir fry. Now can I tempura these or not?
Ooh, I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't? Okay.
No.
Well, we'll put them in anyway.
Okay.
Now then, I need some shiitake mushrooms for my yakitori, but I can't see those here, so do you think we might have to walk down a little bit further for that? Lots of Chinese greens. Do the Japanese eat lots of green vegetables too?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, there's some galanga. Oh, these are shiitake. Okay, so these will be fine for my yakitori.
Of course.
And I could actually use them in some of my other mushroom recipes. They're quite universal.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, good. And now radish. I need a radish, and I believe I saw those back over there.
Oh, yeah.
I think I saw over here. These are a lot bigger. Have you ever seen English radishes?
Yes.
They're like so big.
Tiny ones.
Now then, how would I pick a good Daikon radish? Put those in there. Do I have to sort of... I don't know. You choose me one.
You have to push.
Push?
Yeah, just...
Okay.
It's got to be firm.
It's got to be firm,
Yeah.
yes? Okay. I quite like this. I quite like the look of that one. Is that one?
Yeah.
Is it sure? And I can use this for my salad, but what
Yeah.
else can I do with it?
You can stir it.
And just cook it on its own?
Yes, you can do.
Okay.
Or with some vegetables.
So my leftover shiitake.
Yes.
Yuki, thank you very much indeed. That's all my vegetable shopping. I don't have
My
to buy
pleasure.
anything else. It's been lovely talking to you. I need to go and pay. I've already shown you one tempura dish using prawns, but with all this lovely produce around, I thought I'd go for a vegetable tempura this time. And so that it's a little bit different, I'm going to make a very different sort of batter, one that's far, far simpler, that might appeal to the men in the audience. The vegetables we bought at the supermarket, if you remember, were these amazing mushrooms. Always the most difficult part of any cooking demonstration is getting the packaging. Ooh. Which I was assured by Yuki you can tempura, no problem at all, so I'll just break those up. And these anuki mushrooms here, which Yuki wasn't so keen on me tempuraing, but I'm going to try anyway. And I think for these I'm just going to cut off the end here and thread them out like that. The Japanese basil, which has got a name that obashiso, which was air freighted in from Japan in these beautiful little bundles here. So we'll just open one of those. I have to say it's not hugely basil-y, but there you go. Then finally, my lotus root. There you go. So, and this one needs slicing. My amazing Japanese cleaver. So, yeah. I think it's going to look really rather dramatic. And should have a crisp texture to contrast with everything else. Right, so those are my vegetables prepared. and Japanese beer. Ooh, that was exciting. And you just pour the beer into the flour like that until you have quite a loose batter. There you go. The yeast that's in the beer will make the batter wonderfully light. So it's about the consistency of single cream. And again, don't worry about the lumps. This is very simple stuff. Japanese chopsticks. Japanese chopsticks are very different from Chinese chopsticks because they're pointed. They also have these little ridges on them, and I actually find them very much easier to eat with than the Chinese version. They're more elegant, definitely more delicate. And I bet very few of you can tell me what this is. This is a Japanese omelette pan. Japanese omelettes aren't at all like British omelettes. You make one with a very thin egg batter, and then once you've filled the bottom of the pan, you roll it up, then you put another layer of this very thin egg batter in. When that's cooked, you unroll the top one and roll the two up, then you put another layer in, so you get this sort of Swiss roll of an omelette. There you go. Perhaps they just have a lot of time on their hands. I'm not going to make one today. I'm going to concentrate on my tempura. If you remember, this is how I test to see whether my fat is hot enough, and it certainly is. But I think first of all, I'm going to fry some of the lotus root, just as I did it before, in and out. Gosh, this is going well, isn't it? There's lotus root here. I don't know whether you can notice, occasionally in the background you hear my rather hungry cat, but I don't think he's very into vegetable tempura, so I'm going to have to... These are the anuki mushrooms. Then I'm going to start to get out the very first things that I fried, and as you can see they only need frying for seconds. So I'll take all of these out and I'll recharge the pan with some more. Right. And there's basil. Right, here's my last lot of little mushrooms in here now. And here are my vegetables. So we'll just arrange some of the mushrooms. These are the anuki. Wonderful threads here. And then the unpronounceably named mushrooms here, but these look like little, sort of a bit like magic mushrooms, I think, a little bit like fairy ring mushrooms. And then these beautifully crisp basil leaves. And finally, and I think most successfully, lotus root. There you go. I think it's all rather exciting. And there it is, tempura of vegetables. For my final vegetable recipes, I'm going to show you 2 ways of cooking this Daikon radish. First of all, we're going to chop it in half, like that. That bit I'm going to use, I think I'll keep that bit for later and use this bit here. Off with the end. I've washed it so you don't need to peel it. I'm just going to slice it finely and make a sort of vegetable braise or stew with this. It's not really very tasty daikon, but once you've mixed it with various other things, then you get quite a nice texture. And I'm going to garnish this with some seaweed. We saw some seaweed when we went to the Toyota factory. Right, so into my boiling water, there's the radish. And then these are my shiitake mushrooms, which I'm just going to slice thinly. If you remember, you always take the core out of a shiitake, because that's a really hard, inedible piece. And then just slice them like this. I think one more, and then I'll have enough. Oops, there we go. Now to flavour my broth there, I'm going to use some more of the miso, which is the bean curd paste, just a little bit like this. In there. A little bit of sugar. And some chilli. It's a bit of an adventure for us now, because we haven't used much chilli in the cooking, but just a little bit to give this dish a little bit of bite. A little bit of chilli. Right. And then we're just going to mix the miso in and leave that to simmer away while I show you how to make my salad. And my salad is going to be made with the other half of my daikon radish. and it's going to be a radish and carrot salad. And what I'm going to use is this amazing and extraordinary and possibly my final piece of equipment, which is a Japanese vegetable turner. Now you can see I've got my carrot in position here. And if I turn this round, what happens is that out the other end come these long ribbons of carrot, which makes a quite wonderful salad. But what is even cleverer about this machine is that while it cuts the ribbons of the carrot, it gets out the nasty woody core from the centre of the carrot. So in a second, you'll see, I think that's plenty, that I'll take off my carrot ribbons, and here is the core. Well, I think we can use that as a garnish later on. In there goes the carrot. Now, on goes my radish. Oh, you need to be pretty hefty for the sumo wrestler. And here we go again. It's the sort of thing a child might get enormous pleasure out of doing. So we've got any children in the house. And in the salad dressing is a seasoning which we came across earlier when we were doing the sushi programme. I don't know whether you remember that the sushi was always served with a bright green horseradish called wasabi on the side. Well, this is a dressing flavoured with wasabi. So it's quite spicy. And so we're going to, it's like a wasabi mayonnaise, and all those little green flecks are the wasabi. So we're just going to toss these together like this. My wasabi. Move that onto my plate with it. It's a bit like a slinky. I don't know if you've ever had a slinky as a child. There we go. A little bit of this Japanese pepper on the top, just to add quite a bitter, sharp flavour, but it's very, very good. And then at the side, our delicacy, these extraordinarily slimy baby Japanese mushrooms. Again, a huge delicacy, these. They were flown all the way in from Japan. We're just going to pile those in front there. And this is going to be, whoops, it's just, gosh, they really are even slimier than I thought they would be. Two textured flavoured Japanese daikon and carrot salad. Meanwhile, back over here. Right, now my radish has been cooking for about 7 minutes now, and it's done. So I'm going to switch it off and dish it up. Now then, we need to get a little bit of the radish, some of the shiitake, and a little of the broth. There we go. And a little piece of chilli there. And then, just to finish seasoning it, I'm going to add a dash of the Japanese soy. Like that. And over the top, I'm going to put some nori. Again, we've seen this before, but we saw it in sheets when the people were rolling the sushi in it. So this is just shredded nori on the top like that. So there, my last two vegetable recipes, a little coriander on my salad, and my braised daikon radish with nori and shiitake mushroom. And welcome back. As you can see, I've come back to Oriental City for this, the last cookery demonstration in the series. What I'm going to make for you now is yakitori. It's a type of Japanese street food, and basically it's just food cooked on a yakitori or barbecue. I've chosen some chicken and some shiitake mushrooms. Now these are the shiitake mushrooms which you saw me preparing earlier. Again, I'm just going to pull out the hard stem and cut them in half. Whoops. With yakitori, the most important thing is that all the pieces are the same size so that the kebabs cook very evenly. And you've got to make sure, as I'm using chicken, that everything is cooked through. Thread them onto the skewer like this, a piece of mushroom, piece of chicken here, last piece. And there we are, I'm now ready to cook. The grill over here is getting nice and hot, so I'm going to put my skewers on. Now it's quite important to put them on with the handle overlapping, or else you won't be able to pick them up. The bamboo will be just too hot. You'll notice that I haven't put any sauce on my yakitori yet, and that's because it's unlike a barbecue here. You put the sauce in at the end when the chicken and the vegetables are cooked. Now the reason you do that is because this particular sauce is made with a lot of sugar. You make it by boiling down soy sauce mirin, which is a very sweet wine, dry sherry, and then a couple of tablespoons of raw sugar until you have this lovely thick lacquer, much, much thicker than a barbecue sauce. And so that gets painted on once the chicken and the vegetables are cooked. It's a sort of seasoning you add at the end. I'm ready to start turning my yakitori over now. Now what you have to do is just keep turning them until they're cooked. And I've not cooked on this barbecue before, and as with all barbecues there's a hot spot and a cold spot, so I'm sort of shifting them around a bit so as they get the most of the heat. I'm going to start adding my sauce now to build up the lacquered coating that yakitori have. Just paint it on quite thinly and put on several coats. Don't put too much on, or else it'll do is drip through onto the coals and burn. Now they're nearly ready to eat. So there you have it, my chicken and shiitake yakitori. I couldn't let you go without showing you something that's always fascinated me, taiko drums. James, hello.
Hello.
Now you're going to have to tell me the name of your group because I can't pronounce it.
The name of the group is Akatsuki Daiko, and we are from Gyosei International College in Reading.
How long does it take you to learn to play these drums?
It's taken me about 12 years to get to the level that I'm at, but some of the students have studied from anything from 1 to 4 years.
They don't look long enough to have been old enough to have been playing for 12 years. Now, is music of great cultural significance in Japan?
Yes, very, very great significance. There are various types of tradition. There's the royal court music, and there's the more earthy street type of music, which our drumming is connected to.
And the drums look magnificent. Whereabouts were they made?
These were made in Japan, shipped over from Japan a few years ago, and some of the drums come from the oldest drum making factory in Japan, which is a family business called Asano Daiko, and it's been in the family for 400 years, and we enjoy getting quality drums sent over from there.
And they have obviously a cultural significance. Do they have a religious significance?
Yes, these taiko drums, are used in both the Buddhist and the Shinto tradition. I learned in Hiroshima, which is in Western Japan, and my teacher and his father before him were all connected with the Shinto religion.
So you would see these drums on the street at Shinto religious festivals?
Yes, the shrines and the temples where you have, especially summer festivals, you see them played on the street a lot, and we use the bamboo flute and the hand cymbals, and it's all very much a carnival feel.
Well, thank you, James. Enough talking, on with the music. As this is the final programme of the series, I thought I'd take a moment to try and reflect on some of the things we'd learnt since the beginning of Japanesey. One of the things that has amazed me is the amount of sugar used in Japanese cooking. And given the amount of sugar, how very few flavourings there are. By the time I got to Mrs. Mizushima's kitchen, I'd learnt the 4 staples by heart.
Soy sauce and sugar and mirin.
Soy sauce, sugar and mirin?
Yes.
Okay. You've got your stock. What's in there?
Right, the stock is soy sauce, sake, mirin, and sugar, and water a little bit.
Yeah, so it's a classic Japanese.
That's a classic Japanese stock, yes.
The importance of presentation was another surprise, and the fact that you ate with your eyes held true at everywhere I visited. Each dish is served on a carefully chosen plate or cooked in a bowl specific for that recipe. Table settings were immaculate, and unlike Chinese food, each person has portions of food provided at his or her place setting. There's no set order to eat the food, unlike Western culture. There are no courses. You have perhaps a mouthful of sushi and a slurp of soup. It's up to you. Making a noise when you eat is also considered good manners, as I found out when I learned how to slurp my noodles at Wagamama. It was also at Wagamama that I had my first taste of Japanese egalitarianism. The idea that there's no favoured table linked in to Mr. Mizushima telling me at the Toyota factory that even he doesn't have his own parking space. This is your desk?
Yes, this is my
This is
desk.
where you sit? Right, okay.
So it's very open to,
Very open, so you
to
can
our
see.
members. Everyone can come to see me.
So they can come and see you anytime they want to?
Anytime, anytime.
In your canteen, do you have one canteen for the office staff?
No, we have just one canteen. Every member can come to the canteen.
Cooking time is very quick. The longest dish I tried took only 20 minutes to make. This, of course, reflects the very small amount of meat the Japanese eat. In fact, it's only been in the last 100 years that the Japanese have eaten meat at all. Japan is a country with very little pasture. Rice is the staple, eaten with eggs, fish, tofu, vegetables and seaweed. But no tomatoes. So can you imagine never having another cheese and tomato sandwich? For not only are there no tomatoes, but there's no cheese or bread. Set against that, the Japanese have the freshest fish and the clearest, cleanest flavours. The Japanese palate seems to have developed so as they can detect the subtle nuances of flavour and texture. But I can report I've finally learnt to love bean curd. As the series progressed, I found myself becoming less and less worried about it, and by the time I'd tasted Katsu's teriyaki bean curd steak, I realised I was hooked. It's delicious. It does smell very savoury now. It's almost becoming lacquered with the teriyaki sauce. Japan was for many centuries a closed country, its borders locked against outsiders, its people raised by strict tradition. But now it sits centre stage, and in this age of technology, even sushi, food of the samurais, is made by robots, and Japanese soy and noodles are sold at supermarkets throughout Britain. To Western palates, this cuisine is a difficult one to approach, but with a little extra effort, even you can find eating Japanese easy.